Oh, happy Monday. It is Monday episode of Donno Daily here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. I am Alex Donno. Today at around 2:15, we're going to be joined by the great and our Monday regular, Alfredo Arteaga from 3 Yards Per Carry. He is going to join us to talk Dolphins. We had a couple of illuminating Mike McDaniel quotes during the league meetings over the weekend. Get into that. We'll get into all this Tua media, Dolphin stuff, because it's been a lot of fun watching all this and covering this for the last several days since the Tyreek Hill trade, because some of the narratives you expect, some of the negative ones are low-hanging fruit, some of the kind of negative ones are somewhat fair but not completely fair. I think we can all agree, though, that when you have members of the national media and sometimes even the local media being so incredibly harsh on the Dolphins and on Tua, even after adding Tyreek Hill, Tuanon wants to do to the media what Will Smith did to Chris Rock last night, which I thought more than likely it was staged. More than likely. It did look legit, but still, I think about the way that conventional network TV is dying. And years past, before everything was streaming and everybody's cutting the cord, all of America used to watch the Oscars. Like, every home in America would be tuned into the Academy Awards. Now, what is it? Like, the people actually watching it live on ABC, what do you think it is? Like 1 million, 1.5 million? It used to be 50, 60 million watching. So they always have to create some sort of controversy. They always have to find a way to go viral. A couple of years ago, they read the name of the wrong movie for the Academy Award. That got everybody talking. Now you have, an actor come on stage and slap some dude in the face. I think they're trying to create conversation this time as well. I love this. Brooklyn Rob. Hello, by the way, to everybody who's in the live chat. Leon Edwards and Chris Rock didn't snitch. Colby did. Yeah, Chris Rock said he wasn't going to press charges, right? Neither did Leon Edwards after George Masvidal gave him the 3-piece and the soda. But Colby Covington did press charges. Hello, by the way. And IMAX says it was not fake. It didn't look fake, but I still feel like it was fake because it's Hollywood. And, he made a G.I. Jane joke. Wasn't that bad. And I know that in principle, you say somebody makes a joke about your wife, you have to defend them. Like, I understand that part of it, but Jada Pinkett is a celebrity. She's not just some civilian wife that stays out of the spotlight. Like, she's a celebrity. Chris Rock goes on stage. He makes jokes about celebrities. He made a joke about her, and Will just lost his damn mind. I don't know. I feel like it was fake. That's not what we're here to talk about today. I mean, it kind of is, but it's really not what we're here to talk about. First things first, my friends. If you're in here, whether you're watching live right now at 2:03 p.m., March 28th, year of our Lord 2022, whether you're watching live or you watch via replay later on, do us a solid, smash that like button. Hit the thumbs up button. If you haven't already, subscribe to 5 Reasons Sports on YouTube. You know it by now. This network, 5 Reasons Sports, has content coming at you from everywhere and about everything. The Heat content is pure class. Dolphins content is great. The Miami Hurricanes content has gotten great in recent last couple of years. You get Formula One, combat sports, Marlins, Inter Miami, Panthers. There's content coming at you from everywhere. So make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit that like button. Now, I am, again, even though Miami are now out of the tournament, I'm wearing my Lucky Canes hat for one more show, just out of gratitude, right? To send a huge thank you to Coach Larinaga, to all of those players who overachieved this year. You realize this is the farthest Miami's ever gotten in an NCAA tournament. Been Sweet 16 a couple times, had never cracked the Elite Eight. And out of some of the really good teams they've had over the years, including under Jim Larinaga, I wouldn't have thought on paper that this year's team would be the one to get farther than any Miami team has gone before. So I know it ended on a sour note against Kansas. They got beaten up, but that's not going to take away from me how proud I am of that Miami Hurricanes basketball team making their deepest run in NCAA tournament history when this team was not supposed to be the one to do that. So I'm going to wear the lucky hat, even though my luck eventually wore out. And I did place a small wager on Miami on the money line yesterday. So the mush effect is still there. Brooklyn Rob. I mushed the Canes yesterday. He says, happy Monday to my fellow Donno Daily Chronic crew members. Let's see what the mush has for us today. Well, I did mush the Miami Hurricanes basketball team, and I am sorry about that, but it does not change the fact that they had an awesome season and an awesome NCAA tournament run, okay? Here's something that we're all here to talk about today because it's been an interesting, bumpy road of 5 days. 5 days since the Miami Dolphins acquired the fastest player in the NFL, one of the most dangerous playmakers in the National Football League. And you would think when the Dolphins go out there and make a deal like the Tyreek Hill trade, after signing Teron Armstead, best player available in free agency, after also signing Cedric Wilson, after adding Chase Edmonds, Raheem Mostert to your backfield, that there'd be mostly sunshine and rainbows, right? Mostly positivity coming out of the media. But in a lot of cases, they found a way to turn a positive, a big move, into a negative. So we asked the question, is the national media and even some of the local guys being too tough on Tua Tagovailoa and the Miami Dolphins even after acquiring Tyreek Hill? Now, when I made the title to this episode, it got some responses from some people, including my guy, David here, one of our chronics who we love. David, he made a fine point today to me on social media. He doesn't like the title to this episode because he says it is up to Tua to prove the doubters wrong. And that Stephen A. Smith and whoever else is not going to care what I talk about on YouTube. It's up to Tua to prove the doubters wrong. I certainly agree with that, David. I certainly agree with that. But I want to analyze some of these narratives that have come out because some of them are beyond ridiculous and not grounded in facts. And when these are beyond ridiculous and not based on reality, I think we need to have a conversation about it. Now, I asked our followers on Twitter. I sent it out early this morning, quite frankly, because I didn't want to do all of my own homework, right? And I know people are passionate about this. I know Tuanon and the Tua stands, you guys constantly save receipts. It's a very insecure group of people. But anytime someone says anything questioning Tua, doubting Tua, disparaging Tua, people will take down timestamps. They're going to save links. They're going to save these videos forever because they are just waiting for the day and the time that they can drop the receipts in everyone's faces. So I know people out there. I know you guys save this stuff. So I asked on Twitter earlier today for people to send me video clips and quotes just to make sure I don't leave anything out when it comes to national media members coming up with these narratives where the Dolphins just made a huge deal for a big-time offensive playmaker in Tyreek Hill, and people are talking about it like that move is a bad thing, not a good thing. I wanted people to send me these narratives, and I got a lot of good submissions. Like, for example, the guy who really helped me out the most, and he's going to be joining us later on today at around 2:35 p.m. He's a 5 Reasons Sports contributor, covers the Miami Dolphins in the NFL. Louis Sung, he joins us at 2:35. He is a stud because he sent me like 12 video clips of people talking about this Tyreek Hill trade. Many of those I'd seen. Some of those I hadn't seen. So it was nice watching all these. A lot of other people were sending me quotes. Some of the people who sent me stuff weren't really that ridiculous because some people sent me quotes of media members basically just saying Tua has no excuses now, and it's a prove it year for him. That if it doesn't go right this year, you have no excuses. A lot of people sent me that. Now, I don't see why that would really upset you. I think statements like that are fair, okay? Tua has had ups and downs in his career, hasn't played as well, for example, as the other two of the top 3 quarterbacks that were drafted in his class. Hasn't, played as well as Justin Herbert, certainly hasn't played as well as Joe Burrow, who just got to a Super Bowl. So I think some of that is fair. I think that any media member saying, hey, look at all these weapons, there's no excuse for Tua not to take it to the next level. He's got to be better this year. I don't see anything unfair about that. So not everything the media has been saying has been completely out of line or unfair. I'll give you a couple positive examples before we get into the negatives, okay? I saw Dan Orlovsky on ESPN, I think it was late last week, and Orlovsky has really come around on Tua. I think rookie year, Orlovsky was kind of negative, very skeptical on Tua. I'm still skeptical on Tua, but Orlovsky has really come around. I think he's actually become one of Tua's loudest supporters, in fact. But I saw him on ESPN say that this move, it makes Tua a top 12 quarterback in the NFL, in his words. And yeah, I don't think Tua was in the top 12 last year. I think this can take him there. I agree with that. And he said with Tyreek Hill, quote, "It's going to be like basketball on grass." He said Tua just needs to be a point guard. And I agree with that as well. Louis Riddick, who I respect a lot, was complimentary on Tua after this move. He thinks that Tua is up to the task, in his words, for taking a big step forward with these new weapons. Another crew that's really been complimentary, and they've been higher on Tua than the ESPN folks have been on NFL Network. The Good Morning Football crew, they're usually very complimentary on the Dolphins and even on Tua. Like Pete Schrager, for example, of NFL Network, and the other members of Good Morning Football as well were complimentary. They were high on the move. They were very complimentary of what Tua can do with new weapons. So that's some of the good. There's been a lot of bad, and I think a lot of this has been unfair, even by my standards. I'm not Tua-non. I'm not a Tua-neer. You guys know that. I take a lot of flack for that because how dare I question whether he's a franchise quarterback? I take a lot of flack for that. But even I think that some of the negativity is unfair, unfounded, and just not grounded in facts, okay? One of the ridiculous ones that's going around, and he was actually he was the other side of it with Louis Riddick, because I told you the complimentary things that Louis Riddick said. This was a show that he did with Stephen A. Smith, and I take this into account as well from In Day. It's a fair point. And hell, I fall into this category too. He says the media are content creators. Too many times they're hypocritical and not researched. There's no critical thinking. They do it for traffic, for clicks. Do not reward this behavior. But the thing is, there's not a whole lot of places left to find just objective facts. That's the problem. You just have to learn how to filter out the bullshit. Honestly, it's what you have to learn to do, because there's a reason why even, 10, 15 years ago, there's 2 or 3 ESPN channels already by that point, because you had ESPN, ESPN2, ESPN News. Like, you would basically throughout the day on all of those channels, it would just be Sports Center-like programming. And Sports Center back then is not even the same as Sports Center now, because Sports Center now will have 2 or 3 people at a desk sometimes debating each other. Back in the old days, Sports Center just used to be some dude or some woman on half the screen, sports highlights on the other, and they're just talking about the highlights, and they're just reading a quote, stats, facts, not injecting any opinions into it whatsoever. And like back in those days, like 90s, early 2000s, that used to be entertaining for sports fans. Now, everyone is trying to make you create an emotional response. That's why shows, PTI was the original one, but then First Take is like PTI on steroids. PTI is a half hour. Wilbon and Tony Kornheiser are both pretty reasonable guys. Then you have a 2-hour show in the midday where Stephen A. Smith, who's a loudmouth, is going to have another loudmouth sitting in the other chair, and they're going to be arguing for 2 hours. That's the sort of programming that moves the needle. So what Indade said there, he's completely correct. It's become a content creation business. That's really the only way to digest this stuff anymore, because you don't just have objective news programming the way that you used to. You just have to become better about formulating your own opinions and siphoning through the BS. That's what you have to become. Okay, but here are some of the things that have been said over the past 5 days about the Dolphins and Tua after the Tyreek Hill trade. Stephen A. Smith, on that same interview with Louis Riddick, said, quote, "That miniature size he brings behind center is an impediment to his success," he said about Tua. And he said, Stephen A., that this move the Dolphins made is them trying to justify having drafted Tua, which my face just, I turned white. Like I looked as though my heartbeat was completely gone. I flatlined for a bit. And thankfully, Louis Riddick had the same reaction as I did. So Stephen A. Smith, he acts as though the Dolphins shouldn't be adding the best possible players to their offense, because they're only doing that to try and make their failed 5th overall pick look better. It's like, wait, Stephen, you telling me you think that a team should decide, you know what? We've got a chance to bring in really good play. Teron Armstead, best player available in free agency. Chase Edmonds and Raheem Mostert, big upgrades at running back. Oh, we can trade for Tyreek Hill, the most explosive player in the NFL. You know what? we wouldn't be doing this if our quarterback was good. So let's not upgrade the offense. Let's only sign these guys because our quarterback sucks and we need to make him better. Hold on. How about you sign the best players and make your team better? I don't care who the quarterback is. I don't care if your quarterback is Aaron Rodgers or Tua Tagovailoa. You have a chance to add weapons. You add weapons, okay? Teddy Bruschi said the Dolphins are loading up just to shorten Tua's leash and build for the next quarterback. Well, you know what? Either way, it works, okay? Whether you're building for this quarterback or the next one, bring in the best possible players. Armando Salguero, formerly a local guy with the Miami Herald for many years, is now national with Outkick. He did his own ranking of the top 16, all 16 AFC quarterbacks, and he had Tua ranked second to last, ahead of only Zach Wilson, which, listen, you got to also, at the very least, you also put him in front of Davis Mills. I think you probably throw him definitely in front of Trubisky, probably throw him in front of Mac Jones as well. Like, to have him only ahead of Zach Wilson is crazy. Mike Tannenbaum said the only quarterbacks in the AFC he would take over Tua are Mitch Trubisky and Davis Mills. Let's not act like Zach Wilson has done anything, among others. Shannon Sharp on Fox Sports 1 said Tyreek Hill will miss Mahomes more than Mahomes misses Tyreek. Skip Bayless says this will be career-threatening for Tua. Again, he makes it sound like adding good players is a bad thing because Tua will not be able to capitalize on this talent. Skip in the past has said that he can throw it farther than Tua. You know what? Skip is pretty jacked. I'll give him the benefit. I don't know if he works with Nick Hicks or not, but I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. A couple more. We're going to bring on Alfredo Arteaga in a moment. Rick Bucher on Fox Sports 1. You know what? I shouldn't even read Rick Bucher's quote. I'm not going to even waste my time on that dude. So I find two things to be hilarious about this criticism, which some of it, like I addressed earlier, I think it's fair to say that, hey, this is a really important evaluation year for Tua. No more excuses. He's got to get better. That's completely fair. Like, some people were sending me those quotes as if that was trashing Tua. I think some of that stuff's fair, but some of the ones I read to you are so over the top. And for the over the top stuff, I find two things to be ridiculous about this. Number one, people act as though making your offense better is a bad thing. Oh my God. Why would you be putting so many weapons around Tua if you thought he was any good? Oh, what kind of sense does that make? Aaron Rodgers, don't you think guys like Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Pat Mahomes, Russell Wilson have been better the years that they have more weapons, not worse weapons? It's crazy. And also another one, and I didn't talk about it in those specific quotes, but I see this a lot. People act as though Tyreek Hill is only capable of running go routes, and he's only capable of catching the football when it's hanging in the air for 50 yards. That, if you have a quarterback that maybe doesn't have the strongest arm in the league, nothing's ever going to get to Tyreek Hill. All Tyreek Hill does apparently is run at a straight line, 40-yard dash, 60-yard dash down the field, and he hopes the football gets to him deep, as if he's not capable of catching anything before that. Haven't we seen a million or a trillion highlights over the years of Hill catching it a few yards downfield or even behind the line of scrimmage sometimes? Because I think Pat Mahomes last year was the quarterback in the NFL who completed the most throws behind the line of scrimmage, more than any other quarterback. A lot of those were to Tyreek Hill. Whether he's getting it a few yards downfield, a couple yards behind the line of scrimmage, or 40 yards downfield, this guy is capable of taking everything to the house. So I don't want to hear that part of the argument. You see, as we bring in our guy, Alfredo Arteaga from 3 yards per carry, Alfredo, some of this nitpicking, it's making the world such a crazy place that they've even got me defending Tua. If I'm defending Tua, some of this stuff is absurd. How are you, sir?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. It really does make me want to get up on stage and slap somebody, right? What's happening with the national media the last few days has been absolutely ridiculous, especially since the Tyreek Hill thing. And then you almost just look at these shows and you just gotta think to yourself, these are just clowns that have never seen any of these guys play, and then they have to formulate some kind of opinion. They have to say something. So what they grab for the nearest thing, and the stupidity starts compounding itself. And I really have to I'll give the trophy to Undisputed with Shannon Sharp and Skip Bayless. Those two guys are just a couple of complete idiots. Okay.
Yeah.
The stuff that they said, they made Tua out to be like he's in a wheelchair, an invalid.
I know.
And I'm listening to this and I'm like, Are we talking about the same guy or what? And Skip Bayless actually said, I think I can throw it harder than Tua. And to these people, I would. And the thing is, Tua will not do this, and he shouldn't, because he's not a clown on the radio or on a podcast like I could be. Okay. But if I were Tua, I would bet Skip Bayless my entire salary this year, $8 million, that you can't do that. So why get on the air and say things like that?
Yeah.
And one of my favorite things is, many, many, many moons ago, I used to work out some guys for University of Central Florida, and people have no idea what a Division I quarterback with an average arm, how hard he can throw a football.
For sure.
10 to 15 yards. And one of my favorite things is whenever I would talk to somebody, they're like, oh, and people would talk themselves up, I would take them out there and try to have them catch balls from those guys. I would bet any amount that Skip Bayless wants to go. Let's go 10,000 a throw that Skip Bayless won't catch more than 2 passes from Tua from 10 yards. I'm willing to bet that. And who knows? Maybe he goes 0 for 10. That's an entire possibility. Okay. I don't know where this started, but it's reaching comical. It's borderline slanderous. Like, at some point, Tua just has to sue these people, right? Like, I don't know. Like, what's going on? Like, I listen to this stuff, and evidently Tyreek Hill is a bad thing, right? Like you add crazy. Tyreek Hill, it's a bad thing, and I don't know. It's gotten stupid, but I guess they'll prove, got to prove them wrong on the field again.
Exactly. And that's what our guy David said. And he's right. But still, it's like, I can't not bring it up and you were right, undisputed, because those guys are both knuckleheads. But I thought maybe the single dumbest thing was when Stephen A. Smith was going on and on and on about how, basically they're only adding good offensive players because they want to justify the quarterback they drafted. So wait, so you're telling me if they had a better quarterback, they shouldn't go out there and get weapons? Like, and I'm glad Louis Riddick was there, because if that had been Skip and Shannon, neither of them would have argued with the other's ridiculous point. Like, I'm glad Louis Riddick was there, and he was like, Steven, are you saying they shouldn't be adding good players? Like, isn't that what every offense tries to do? Like, you don't think Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady always want to be playing with the most possible? I mean, didn't Tom Brady leave New England because he could get better weapons in Tampa?
Yeah, no, Louis Riddick set him straight when he says that's what you're supposed to do. Like, you're supposed to draft a young quarterback. First of all, if you're drafting a young quarterback high, it means your roster isn't very good because you have a high pick, right?
Yeah.
So naturally, the next step is to put guys around that quarterback. Like, this is like normal. This is very, very normal. And I think there's some of what's happening here is that they don't want him to get better. I think. Because they don't want to be wrong. They don't want their takes that they've been piling on for the last year and a half to all of a sudden blow up in their faces. But I'm telling you, they won't, because they'll justify it some other way, because they have before. Look, Skip Bayless is a guy who gets up every single morning, okay, shows up on television and tries to tell you that LeBron James is a choking idiot.
I agree with that stuff, though, to be honest.
He has 3 titles. Okay, fine, all right. He's come up, small in certain situations, but you can't get up there and basically. And then when they do a top 10, and you're like, okay, now is when Skip is going to actually out himself as a total fraud, right? Because he's going to put probably LeBron as the number 2 or number 3 best player of all time. No, he puts him number 9. So then you're like, okay, this guy is not only a total fraud, but he's probably mentally ill, right? Because all of what's gone on the last 2 weeks just tells you all you need to know. Stick to your local guys. Listen to my podcast. Listen to shows like this. Amen. Listen to the people that actually cover the team, actually watch the team, and ignore all those idiots. It's a waste of your time. It's a waste of time to even be talking about them. But it's fun to to put them on blast and then just show them for who they are next season when. Trust me, they will make excuses. No matter how good a season Tua wins. Tua wins the MVP next year and the Super Bowl. And the Super Bowl MVP. That's about as good as you can have it, right?
Yeah.
And throw and throw 79 touchdowns and 8,000 yards, they will say they stacked the deck against the rest of the league by having Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Tua's a fraud. Anybody could have gotten the 8,000 yards in the 7.
By the way, don't give that away because that's going to be my narrative next February. If everything that happens that you say happens, that's going to be my show. So hopefully people forget about this by then.
Yeah, so they're going to do that. So why bother?
Yeah.
Just go out there, win games, and if you win games, let them talk about everything they want to talk about, and then you can make fun of them and put them on cold takes.
So I haven't spoken to you since the Tyreek Hill trade. I mean, at least not on the show. We've probably encountered one another on social media. But Alex M says, will the Chiefs send us a gift basket after all of those picks? I don't know if he's being sarcastic or not, because I didn't think they gave up too much. Like, I thought not giving up either of your first round picks from next year, I think that's a win. And the first round pick you gave up this year is 29th overall, 50th overall, second round pick. You gave up a couple of fourths and a sixth. I didn't think they gave up too much for Tyreek Hill.
No, they didn't. It's a trade that's commensurate with what the Raiders gave up to get Devonta Adams. So it's a good deal. It's exactly.
He was being sarcastic, by the way. He made that very clear. So
the media made it seem like, oh my God, this is the Herschel Walker trade. No, it's not. Okay. The Dolphins drafted Tyreek Hill 29th overall. They paid the premium of a 50th overall pick for it. That's it. Okay. If you really care about 4th and 6th round picks, like, oh, wow. You understand you could get a 4th round pick for guys that you're about to cut in August, right? Devontae Parker. So, if, you could recoup picks as easily as that, then who gives a crap about 4th and 6th round picks? The premium you paid was the 50th overall. That's it for Tyreek Hill. It's a good deal. So, the media's going to tell you it's awful. And, it keeps going on and on. Like, and even people that you kind of rely on to be legitimate, like NFL Network today said, we don't even know if, like today they were giving Tua the benefit of the doubt. I guess thanks for that, right? Mm-hmm. They were saying, I think it's going to work, but, we don't know that Tua can throw it 50 yards because, he's never really had the opportunity to throw it 50 yards. Well, I got news for you. There was 3 quarterbacks last year that threw the ball past 50 air yards more than twice all year. One of them was Justin Herbert. He had 4 completions of 50 air yards or more. Russell Wilson had 3 completions of 50 air yards or more. Tua Tagovailoa had 2 completions of 50 air yards or more. That's the list. That's it. 3 quarterbacks did that. So there is evidence out there, okay, that Tua can throw it 50 yards. And furthermore, if you're thinking that Tyreek Hill is going to take some huge step back, I got news for you. Tyreek Hill had 4 completions of 35 yards or more with Patrick Mahomes last year. Jalen Waddle had 4 completions of 35 yards or more with Tua Tagovailoa last year. So, keep talking. I guess, you got nothing better to do. I don't know what this kid did to any of these people. I really don't. All he did was play, like any other year. The problem was he came out in a year where Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert lit up the league. Okay, that's nice. Okay, Tua wasn't those guys. Guess what? Tua did win more games than those guys, and he still won more games than those guys after 2 seasons, even after Joe Burrow goes to a Super Bowl. So, all he's done is been efficient and win, but he hasn't lit the league on fire. Okay, that's great. Does he deserve that much slander over that? No. And as far as the rankings, like, come on. Armando Salguero, like seriously?
He had to have been trolling. He had to have been.
It's obvious. It's obvious he was trolling. It's obvious that his editor at Outkick told him, like, hey, man, everybody's in on this Tua sucks thing. You got anything on Tua sucks?
Yeah. And they know he's got a lot of followers in Miami, so they knew. Yeah,
and Armando's like, I know what I'll do. I'll do a ranking. And I'll put only Zach Wilson, Davis Mills, Mac Jones. Like, really? Come on.
Yeah.
Come on, Armando.
Trubisky.
Yeah, we know it means nothing what you just wrote as soon as you did that. Okay.
By the way, any more moves coming? Because some people close to the Dolphins have been, these last few days, like Nick Hicks, for example, have been teasing like other big time revolutionary type moves coming. I've seen some rumors with Honey Badger. I've seen some rumors even trading for Debo Samuel. Like, do you think there's a big next move, another big move to come?
Yeah, I'm told that there's something coming, but it hasn't happened yet. And we got our head coach in Palm Beach, dropping one-liners and stuff. So while he's doing his act out there, Chris Greer is probably working. But I don't know, the flexibility is tightening up a little bit right now. When you start exhausting your cap space, it becomes a little bit more difficult to do things. So, well, that's a nice picture. A great coach and Bill Belichick. One of the greatest coaches of all time and Bill Belichick. So
I picture it's so weird. It looks like they're filming a telenovela or something. Just like the backdrop, the way that they're dressed, like everyone's sharing.
And let me give our head coach a little bit of advice. He's wearing a very, very nice shirt right there, but he's wearing an undershirt in Palm Beach. Like, no. You don't do that down here. No undershirts. Yeah. Unless it's a little colder, then you can wear an undershirt.
Yeah, and the undershirt under the white linen shirt, it looks terrible because it's like half see through the shirt.
Yeah. So that doesn't work. So his wife will see this and will tell him, like, look, that didn't work for you on TV when you were posing with Bill Belichick. On the other hand, Bill Belichick wearing the Bermuda shorts, not bad.
Not bad at all. Oh man. By the way, people were asking in the chat. I'll get this one more for you, then I'll let you run. They still need another linebacker. Do you think they address that? Maybe free agency in the draft? How do you think they address linebacker?
Yeah, I think that's in the draft, and they've had some success there. Okay,
yeah.
So drafting useful NFL players on the defensive side of the ball past the fourth round, they've had some success. So I think they're going to continue that. I don't foresee anything happening in the free agent market right now. You could almost kind of tell the way they re-signed some of their depth that they probably want a developmental guy for the Mike Backer spot, and that they're going to pretty much run the exact same system as they ran last year. So, yeah, I would look for the draft. Like that pick 102 is probably not too high, I think, for the type of linebacker they're going to look for.
By the way, I think this is what Revo is referencing here. Will Smith has worked out with Tua before. They've been workout buddies. I hope Will Smith is not teaching Tua to be disrespectful or commit assault or anything like that. Did you think that what happened last night on the Oscars, real or staged? I'm leaning to that it was staged.
I think it was real. It was real because you have to look at the video that was not broadcast in the United States. Like if you look at the video from outside, Will Smith is screaming expletives from the crowd. Like you can't think that any producer condones something like that, right?
Right.
Because that in case anybody's wondering, this is a live event. Something like that happens, and I've been in a control room before in a live event. And in a control room, like you really have people scrambling and people losing their minds. Like, did somebody actually say that? And then you have to start running back the tape because you have a very quick delay.
Right.
And you got to start, putting in bleeps. There, you could tell that the producer just panicked and just say, you know what? Just cut all the feed, cut the entire audio. And sometimes you might even have to cut the video, like if something even worse is happening.
Yeah.
So. I don't know. I think it was absolutely real. The more you look at it, it's real. Do I obviously I don't condone violence. Okay. No. Like, you're supposed to be an adult, like if you really want to, slug Chris Rock, first of all, you're slugging Chris Rock. The guy is 4 inches shorter than you and 50 pounds lighter than you. Okay. Will Smith is about 6'3", 220 pounds.
It's huge. Right?
Okay. He's a big guy. That's why when you saw him, in fact, in the movie Ali, which, by the way, he should have won for that and not won for King Richard, although he was finding King Richard. But in the movie Ali, you see him and he's in the ring and he's sparring with an ex-NFL player. I forget his name, but the guy played Sonny Liston. And that ex-NFL player was like 6'2", 230 pounds when he played. And Will Smith looks bigger than him. He looks naturally bigger. So he's a big guy. You're going up there, you're going to slap a little scrawny guy like Chris Rock. No, like you really want you really want to confront him, wait for the show to end. You don't walk up there and slap him across the face. Like if I were Chris Rock, I don't know what it says about Chris Rock if he actually does press charges, but
He's
go
not
press
going to,
charges.
he said.
Oh, he said he's not going
Yeah, he
to.
said he's not going to.
I would, because it's rather embarrassing. He was just he was actually being professional, and he made a joke. Okay, is it a bad joke?
Well, I don't know. I don't know if he knew that she has alopecia. Like a couple people pointed that out, and I heard that. Like I don't know. Maybe he didn't know that. And also, like a point that I made, Alf, is it because people are like, oh, you can't talk about a man's wife like that. But she's a celebrity. Like Chris Rock, he makes fun of. It's not like Will Smith is married to like an accountant who stays out of the public eye. Like she's as famous as anybody else in that crowd.
No, especially now that we know that Will Smith will let you sleep with his wife, but won't let you make fun of her. Okay, on stage. At least it wasn't a cuck joke, right? Like that would have been like off color.
Yeah.
Like maybe Will Smith would have gotten up and slapped him over a cuck joke. Like I don't know. Maybe that's a bridge too far, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But a joke about your bald-headed wife, no. Like that's enough to slug the guy. I don't know. It's awful. I would tell Tua Tagovailoa, you might be at the NFL honors this year. Please resist the urge after you've seen this to do anything if Skip Bayless is presenting the NFL MVP award next year. All right. So, please resist the urge.
Well, if they let him present that, we have big problems in the league, I would say.
Let me tell you one thing. If Tua Tagovailoa wins the NFL MVP, it's the end of FS1 and ESPN as we know it.
That's true.
They might as well just sell it for parts after that point.
Might be the end of this show if Tua wins NFL MVP. I won't have but here's the difference with me and some of the others. I would prefer to be wrong about this one because I'm a Dolphins fan. Like I've said critical things about Tua. If he wins multiple Super Bowls, guess what? I'm a Dolphin fan. I can live with that, okay? I'm not going to have any problem with being wrong just by questioning the guy. So, but yeah, you're right. Skip Bayless may not be so happy about that. Alf, thank you so much for taking the time. Let people know where they can find 3 yards per carry.
Well, we're going to be dropping an episode this week, so you can find our podcast at the number 3 yards per carry anywhere you get your podcasts, Spotify, iTunes, wherever. That's it. Thank you for having me.
Enjoy the rest of your day, Alf. Great stuff as always. He is the man, the myth, the legend. We're going to bring in Louis D. Sung in a minute. Before that, I want to remind you guys, there are 3 major ways to support the show. Smash the like button, and also go back to last Thursday's episode. If you haven't already, smash the like button for that as well, because I wanted to give away, if we got every episode last week, at least 100 likes, and we smashed it most days. But Thursday's episode, we were like around 90 the last I checked. So if I'm going to give away a quarter deck gift card, I want to get to at least 100 likes for every show last week. So go back to last Thursday's, smash the like button. Smash the like button for this episode. It's a great way to support our show, support the channel, because the more likes we get, the more people's timelines the video is going to show up in. It's the algorithm. We have to finesse the algorithm. So if you're in here, smash that like button. That's one way to support us. Another way to support us is if you're feeling generous, and it's by no means mandatory, but you can leave us a super chat donation. So if you want to drop something in the tip jar, that's great. But then I think the most important way to support the show is to support our awesome sponsors, because they make this go. They keep the lights on here, so to speak. The Quarter Deck Seafood Bar and Neighborhood Grill. This is the official sports bar of Donno Daily. This is the best place. Last 4 teams of the NCAA tournament. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say the actual trademarked phrase. So, there's 3 games left in the tournament, semifinal, final. You can watch all of that at the Quarter Deck Seafood Bar and Neighborhood Grill. Every big game, NBA games, NHL games, international soccer. You can watch it all at the Quarter Deck. They have flat screen, high-def TVs covering every wall. And guys, they have every UFC pay-per-view fight at the Quarter Deck for 0 cover charge. You pay nothing at the door. And to wet your whistle there, they have 2-for-1 happy hour all day, every day. The happy hour never ends. The beer is always cold. The seafood is delicious. The burgers and sandwiches are awesome. If you haven't tried out the Quarter Deck yet, or you haven't been there for a while, check them out on the web. You can see their whole menu there, and you can find the location nearest to you at quarterdeckrestaurants.com. The Quarter Deck, come for the food, stay for the fun. We have an official sports book. Yes, it's a full-service sports book, legal and available in Florida, betus.com, America's favorite sports book, money lines, parlays, spreads, props, you name it, they have it. Full service sports book. Sign up today, betus.com, with our code. We have the best bonus in the industry for you. Use our code 5RSN125, and they're going to give you a 125% sign-up bonus. You deposit $100, they give you $125 in free play money on top of your deposit. How good is that? Bet sports, play in their full-service casino. It's like having Las Vegas in your pocket. Sign up at betus.com with our code 5RSN125. You bet, you win, you get paid. betus.com. Now, I think this man has a bone to pick with me because I've been trolling his beloved quarterback a little bit. Now, Lewis D. Sung from 5 Reasons Sports, can't you give me some credit? Because basically this entire episode to this point, 40 minutes in, I've actually been defending Tua from just some of the maniacal members of the national media who give him even less credit than I do.
Well, Donno, yeah, that's great. I appreciate you giving Tua some credit, but the thing I wanted to call you out on was the thing where you decided to talk about Tom Brady.
Oh, that would be so great. He's not coming here, unfortunately, but that would be so great.
No, thank God. No, I don't want Tom Brady anywhere near these Dolphins, man. I hate this. I despise that man. I despise Tom Brady with every fiber of my being. I despise Tom Brady, not just because of what he did for the Dolphins, just because he's a rotten, sore loser. Does not even begin to encompass his personality.
Yeah, but anyway, most of the greatest athletes of all time have been sore losers. Michael Jordan, very sore loser.
Which kind of makes me feel like all the best players are horrible humans, which I don't want to be able to think that way.
I don't think Tom Brady's a horrible human, though. Like, outside of allegedly deflating some footballs, which I don't think is that big of a deal. Like, what has he done? Like, what has Tom Brady done that's so terrible?
I'm not a fan of bad sportsmanship, and that he has done many times. Call me an old school person that says that, listen, if you take things with grace, you take things in stride. Brady doesn't do that very well. Some people will say I'm wrong. I understand. I'm okay with it. This is just the way that my lifestyle is. This is the way that I view the world. I feel like you should have more class than that, but that's besides the point.
I feel like you should have as much class as is necessary to win football games.
I mean, if that's the case, then you can go get Deshaun Watson.
See, that's a little bit different because he actually allegedly has done some bad things. Where it's like, what has Tom Brady ever done illegal? Like, has Tom Brady ever done anything illegal? Has he ever been accused of anything outside of maybe taking some air out of a football?
Not that I'm aware of, but I mean, listen. It's not illegal by law of federal law, but it's illegal in NFL law. Just throwing that out there. But anyway, that's pretty much all I wanted, because the thing I was upset about is not that you trolled them, is that you said you weren't going to, and then as soon as I said thank you for sparing us, then you're like, oh no, now I'm gonna do it just to piss Lewis off. I was like, no.
He's so right. Let me take you guys behind the curtain, okay? So this was, I think it was last Thursday night, was when the report came out of WEEI Boston, which has been completely debunked left and right. But the report was from Dale Arnold, who claimed that the Dolphins and the Buccaneers and Tom Brady were working on something, that the Dolphins might actually get Tom Brady in a trade this offseason. I really didn't believe it even then, because it didn't make sense. Because why did Brady already announce he's back in Tampa with unfinished business and he's recruiting people to re-sign? Like, that didn't make sense. Why you'd be recruiting people to re-sign there if you wanted to leave. So I didn't believe it from the get-go, but I love Tom Brady. I like to troll Tua, and I love the headline. And so when it came out, Lewis and I were in the 5 Reasons Dolphins chat together, among other people. So when it came out, I had already done a little bit of Tua trolling earlier in the day. So when the Brady reports came out, I'm like, I said in the chat, I think I'm going to pass on this one because I've already trolled the Tua lovers enough for one day. I don't want to go overboard. And then about 10 minutes later, I decided I had to share it and make a joke. So I couldn't resist.
No, with no restraint. None. You got to resist temptation, Donno. Resist the temptation. Turn away from temptation.
Yeah, and on that note, so Mike McDaniel at the league meetings, he was asked about the Brady to Miami speculation, and he said, "Oh, what, the Tampa Bay Bucks quarterback?" Because you probably can't even say the guy's name, or it sounds like tampering. But he said, "What, the Tampa Bay Bucks quarterback?" He says, "That's, what do you call it? Fake news." So he says it's fake news. A reporter that I think all of us really respect, Barry Jackson from the Miami Herald, had said a couple times within the last few days that he's done some digging on that, hasn't heard anything. Like, there's nothing there. He said nothing there linking Brady to the Dolphins right now. So I think we can completely debunk that one. And I'm disappointed, Lewis. I am disappointed it's not true.
I mean, I'm not disappointed it's not true, but this whole report just stems from the idea, like, listen, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the gentleman who initially sent the report out, he has a book coming out, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, somebody said that. Yeah, I'm probably not going to buy it. But
he has a book coming out. He gets everybody talking. Everybody looks up his name. Who's the one who initially put out the report? Oh, it's this guy. Oh, and he has a book coming out. Isn't that interesting? Get your name out there. It's all PR marketing. But I will say this, and I'll give credit to Mike McDaniel for this, because what is the one thing that drove us absolutely up a wall during the entire season last year was the Deshaun Watson stuff and Brian Flores non-committal to being committed to Tua. Like, It was always the question, is Tua the starter? He's the starter right now. He's the guy that we're working with. I'm not going to talk about other teams' quarterbacks. Okay, so, but you're not saying straight out, we are not interested in X.
Well, because they were interested, though, is the thing.
Okay, but you know what? If you want the stuff to shut up, you say it. It's like, because you can always say, like, oh, well, it's just part of the game. You like nobody's going to understand that. Oh, I lie to these people, so that way you all get off my back about it, and then afterwards we can be like, oh, well, that's how negotiations work. Okay, whatever. It's everybody knows this game. So McDaniel comes out now and he says, we're not interested in this. This is fake news. I don't care about this guy. Okay, good. Shut up the controversy before it even has a chance to start. By the way, Teddy Bridgewater stuff. Oh, Teddy Bridgewater. He says, well, I'm not going to talk about what my role is with the team. And so begins the controversy. And then here comes Mike McDaniel once again, says, no, we already talked about this. Tua is a starter. Bridgewater's the backup. End of discussion. So good. That nips it in the bud right then and there. We can talk about other things. I really appreciate the fact that McDaniel's being open and honest about all this stuff, and no more Bill Belichickian non-committal, non-answer answers. Just straight up, this is what we're doing. This is the plan. If you don't like it, I mean, deal with it.
Did you, and you read my mind because I wanted to ask you about it. You already covered it with what Mike McDaniel said about Bridgewater, because it goes back to last week. Bridgewater declined to specify his role. Of course, that got Mike Florio and everybody else going crazy with some narratives. And McDaniel said flat out, Teddy Bridgewater will support Tua as the backup quarterback. He said it's been explicitly explained to the players. Now, do you blame Bridgewater for handling the way he did? Because I don't, because I look at from his perspective, he is a competitor. He wants to be a starting quarterback. He doesn't even want to talk about being a backup. And I also think that, and let's be real here, I don't know if I'm going to take any flack from the Tua crazies in the chat, but when Teddy Bridgewater was looking at various quarterback situations he could step into where nobody was offering him a starting job, he'd have to be a backup somewhere. He probably thought, you know what? In Miami, this guy gets banged up sometimes, and he's not been that convincing. I may have a slightly better shot to finesse myself into a starting role there than anywhere else. I think that was probably, whether you agree with that or not, because I don't think Bridgewater is better than Tua, and I don't think he's going to take Tua's job, but I do think he probably thought, I have a better chance here than some other places.
Well, Donald, I wanted Bridgewater to be the backup from day one. That was the guy that I even written up in my offseason plan. Teddy Bridgewater was the perfect fit because they have similar game plans. They have similar styles of being a quarterback. And I thought it was the perfect fit. So when I saw they were actually signing Bridgewater, I was like, oh, they read my article. That's nice. But anyway, so I don't blame Bridgewater for not being committal about what his role is. And no quarterback with any sense of self-respect is going to say, oh, yeah, I'm just the backup. I'm just here to be there just in case I'm needed. No, everybody wants to play. Everybody wants to start. Nobody's going to sit there and say that, oh, well, I just came here because I just really wanted to be in Miami. Of course, they're going to say that. I'm not going to talk about that. I'm going to compete. I'm going to push myself to the limit, which is what any quarterback with any sense of self-respect would do. So on Bridgewater's end, I'm not at all upset with how he handled it. I'm perfectly happy with it. And in fact, I would actually appreciate if Bridgewater pushed Tua, because again, we keep talking about how we want competition. We want to push Tua. We want to make him better and all this stuff. Well, you know what? The only way you can do that is with a quarterback who actually has a chance of doing that. Jacoby Brissett, first of all, not only is he not the same kind of quarterback as Tua, he wasn't even half as good as Ryan Fitzpatrick was.
Right.
So that was a wash from day one. I would have rather had injured Tua with his bum up thumb than a Brissett who was completely healthy.
And so, we saw in one game, by the way, in that Baltimore game, when Tua supposedly still had big issues with the thumb, he came on in the second half. He was way better than a fully healthy Jacoby Brissett.
I know, and so that's the biggest part of it. So now you have a guy who can actually compete with him, with Teddy Bridgewater. And even if McDaniel comes out and says he's the backup in a discussion, which again, I appreciate him saying that, I still want Bridgewater to go out there and be under the assumption I can push this guy, or at the very least, try to take advantage of Tua's supposed injury issues. Maybe he misses a few games and Bridgewater can put some good tape out there so that after his 1-year contract is over, if he doesn't want to re-up with Miami, he can at least say, look, this is what I did in Miami. This is what I did with all these weapons around me. Put some people around me that I can function with, and we can get some stuff done. So on that aspect of it, he has every incentive to still push himself to the limit, even with McDaniel coming out and saying he's the backup, deal with it.
Amen. That's really, really well said by Louis D. Sung. And listen, just for the record, I do think Tua is better than Teddy Bridgewater, at least a little bit better, if not moderately better than Teddy Bridgewater. At the same time, if for whatever reason Teddy outplays and outshines Tua this year, I as a Dolphin fan, I want the best quarterback on the field. I see some people with their feelings hurt because they're Tua fans, not Dolphin fans. There are a lot of people who are Tua fans above the Miami Dolphins who are afraid of the idea of another quarterback outshining their guy. I don't think it's going to happen, but if it does happen, I am a Dolphins fan first. I am not a fan of any. Even Dan Marino, who I idolized growing up, had a poster of Marino over my bed. If I thought another quarterback gave the Dolphins a better chance to win in those days, nobody did. I have to do what's best for the team, not the player.
I can understand that. And in the end of the day, may the best man win. But I will say this, Bridgewater automatically has a bit of an advantage simply because he has the benefit of experience. So he has that going for him. So in that sense, I feel like Tua needs to be given at least a little bit of leeway, at least at first, because again, Bridgewater's been in the league. He knows what he's looking at. He knows how to see these things. And this is going to be the first year that Tua has had any semblance of all of the puzzle pieces around him. So regardless of whether you like Connor Williams at left guard or not, because McDaniel said he's going to move people around, he's going to see who lurks. I really hope he just picks the spot and does it, because I'm tired of
Same here.
I'm tired of musical chairs. But Teron Armstead at left tackle, way better than everything Tua's ever had, except for Alabama. Connor Williams, way better than any left guard he's had, except for Alabama. And even if you stick with Robert Hunt at right guard, maybe you move Austin Jackson to right tackle, and maybe you have Michael Dieter at center. Even then, that's still a better line than he's had the entire time he's been in the NFL. So all of these things that we're saying, oh, he has no excuses, he has no excuses. Truth be told, Donno, he's never had excuses, because any quarterback, and this is kind of what Louis Riddick was saying, and the guys like Dan Orlovsky was saying, it's the same thing. Why do you expect a quarterback to find success if you don't give him just the basic building blocks for success? There's no quarterback on earth. I still remember, and I hang on to this because I see it as proof positive of my point. There was 4 weeks. I can't remember what year it was. I think it might have been like 2016, maybe, that Tom Brady, for the first 4 weeks of the season, he looked awful. And I mean god awful.
I thought he was finished.
His offensive line was complete trash. Yeah. And they had to drag Dante Scarnecchia kicking and screaming out of retirement. Come fix this mess, please. And as soon as he showed up, the line snapped back into order, and Tom Brady looked like Tom Brady again. If you love Tom Brady so much, the GOAT, the greatest of all time, right? And even he cannot function without an offensive line in front of him. I don't know what you expect from guys like Tua or anyone else for that matter. So that's why I feel like when we talk about no excuses, I'm even willing to go that far. Yes, Tua has to perform. He has to perform this year. That I feel like is fair. But to say people have been making excuses for him all this time, that's wrong, because he hasn't had the basic building blocks. He hasn't. Right. And if you say that, and as much as I loved Mac Hollins, he's not anywhere close to a Tyreek Hill. As much as
that's fair.
As much as I loved the idea of Malcolm Perry doing some tricky stuff, which by the way, he didn't even make it on the roster last year. New England ended up taking him. Lynn Bowden, he didn't stick around. He got hurt. So you had Devontae Parker, you had Mac Hollins, you had Jakeem Grant for a little while, and he got traded.
Yeah.
And Albert Wilson, who he's down for the count. He's done. I think he's done. I feel like that injury finished him, which is very sad because I loved Albert Wilson. I really thought he was going to come on based on his training camp performance, but it didn't happen. So all of these things, and we're going to sit here and say, oh, Tua's the problem. It's the same thing with Ryan Tannehill in a way, because when he was here in Miami, we didn't give him that stuff either. Then he goes to Tennessee. And now we can say that, okay, Tannehill's the problem in Tennessee because he can't elevate them to the point where he gets the Super Bowl. But with all those pieces around him, an offensive line, a running back, a coach that believes in him, he's been able to get to the playoffs every year.
Right.
That makes such a huge difference. Matthew Stafford goes from Detroit. Did anybody think Matthew Stafford was good enough to win a Super Bowl? No. Oh, wait, you put some guys around him that can function? Oh, my goodness, they're Super Bowl winners. It makes a difference, man. It makes a difference.
By the way, people are telling me in the chat to block the troll. If they're talking about Kenny P, I'm not going to block somebody for speaking facts. I mean, they see, this is the thing, Lewis. This is the thing.
Okay, but what tier is below average then, Donno? Who is average in the NFL? Who is average? Because if the average is
Baker
you have
Mayfield.
to be elite, I'd put Tua in that camp. Baker Mayfield, I was never impressed with Baker. I'm like, whatever. Baker just takes more shots than Tua does, which again comes down to how can you afford to take shots? Because the same thing, again, historically bad offensive line. You have less than 3 seconds to throw the ball. You're on your back. What shot do you want him to take exactly? I don't understand.
Right. No, I'm just saying, like, people are asking me to block Kenny P just for having differing opinions. Like, you got to stop being so sensitive, guys. I actually disagree with him. He says, give me Baker over Tua any day, especially with this offense.
Oh, you mean give him all the pieces that Tua has and Baker's going to look really good? Really? You don't say.
Yeah.
You don't say. You don't say. Mitchell Trubisky would look good. But that's
I don't know. I don't know about Trubisky. Trubisky, maybe not.
It's the same argument, though, Donald. Same thing Alfredo was saying. This is going to be the narrative. Oh, Tua didn't make these guys. These guys made Tua. Do you want to win or not, man? Like, do you want to have an elite quarterback so badly that you want the guy to be able to prove that he's really, really good in spite of the fact that he has, you want to talk about below average, everything else.
Yeah.
Like, he has to function in spite of that. I'm like,
I've talked about Tua for 57 minutes. It's making me a little nauseous, and I've even defended him today, which has made me feel very queasy. Because listen, I am a Dolphin fan. He is the Dolphins quarterback.
Don't go Queasy Joe on me, Donno.
I'm going to go a little Joe Philbin Queasy on you. But okay, before we let you run, I want to talk about Tyreek Hill because I haven't had you on the show since the addition. Tell me, how do you expect him to be used this year? If anyone has an expectation, because Mike McDaniel is so damn creative, but how do you expect Tyreek Hill to be used this year? And how much better can he and all the other pieces the Dolphins have added, how much better can they make this offense?
I mean, I expect this offense to take such a huge jump forward. And that also includes Tua, because at the end of the day, Donald, Tua is like, it was actually ironic because Colin Cowherd, he was one of the people that I sent to you talking about how, oh, well, they have this great Ferrari, but now they don't have anybody to drive it. Okay, but listen, you don't have to drive a Ferrari like it's going 50-yard bombs every single play. Sometimes a Ferrari still has to drive down the same roads, follow the same speed limits as everybody else. So it's like, and I'm not even going to try to say that, oh, Tua doesn't have to do anything spectacular. But you have Tyreek Hill, who, by the way, he doesn't just catch 50-yard bombs. He can run 5-yard slants, and he can turn into a 60-yard touchdown because he's literally just faster than every single person on the entire field at any given moment. And by the way, that means that any coach, regardless of whether you throw 50 yards down the field or 5 yards on a slant, they have to double Tyreek Hill, because if they don't, then he is going to break free. He is going to explode loose. He's not going to be able to be touched by whoever your defender is. That was the appeal of Tyreek Hill, the speed kills narrative. So not only do you have Tyreek Hill, that opens things up for Jalen Waddle, who now is no longer going to be the guy getting doubled on every play. And by the way, we already know that Tua absolutely loves Jalen Waddle. He loves Jalen Waddle so much. So if you have Tyreek Hill and he's getting doubled up because you can't afford to let Tyreek get loose, Jalen Waddle is going to be running free most of the time.
Yep.
And even if you don't have, and even if you decide that, you know what, let's miraculously just add extra guys on the field and let's double up both of them. Okay, well, guess what? Now you still have the other guy, Cedric Wilson, who is also a great playmaker for the Dallas Cowboys. He listen, I don't particularly care for what Skip has to say, but Skip apparently really likes Cedric Wilson. He watched him in the Cowboys all this time. I know that Scooter Magruder, who's the epitome of Cowboys fandom, he's got subscribers up the wazoo, and I watch him just because he's hysterical. But he is not particularly happy about losing Wilson to the Dolphins. So that you can tell what the results are going to be kind of when you see what the reaction is of the fan base. Connor Williams, a lot of people were happy he was gone, but only because of the hold. They were only happy he was gone because of the holding penalties, but holding penalties can be fixed. And by the way, I'll also say this. Austin Jackson had a hold every single game anyway, and he was terrible at blocking. So I'll take that one holding penalty every game if it means every other snap he's pancaking people.
Another thing was,
Austin Jackson.
From what I recall, because I looked up the stats after Connor Williams was signed, and last year was the only year where he had an issue with all the holding calls. So it was a weird aberration. So it hasn't been a pattern for him his entire career. He had a lot of it. He led the NFL in those last year, which I get it. It makes people raise an eyebrow, but it's not like that was something he's done for multiple years.
Right. So no matter which way you slice it, Connor Williams is a massive improvement over Austin Jackson or Solomon Kinley or whoever you want to throw in that left guard spot. It doesn't really matter. So that's a huge improvement. This offense now has every reason to be amazing. So now you have Cedric Wilson, you have Jalen Waddle, and you have Tyreek Hill. So now you have, oh wait, there's one more guy. The one guy who hasn't been touched this entire time. It's Mike Gesicki. He's back on the franchise tag. Will they re-sign him to a long-term deal? Honestly, I'm a little skeptical of that. I think the tag, I was honestly surprised they tagged him. I really thought they were going to let him walk, but I'm happy he's back.
Yeah.
I'm really happy he's back. So with any luck, maybe, just maybe, they'll try to re-sign him next year, put him on a low cap hit, so that way he's affordable when the Tyreek Hill and all the other contracts start to really pick up. Who knows? Because the salary cap stuff is going to be an issue later down the line. We already knew that was going to be the case, but I don't care because you have to pay for elite talent. You have to pay for elite talent.
Thank you.
You have to pay. You have to pay if you want elite. You want great talent, either develop it yourself, which Miami struggles with, or go and get it. Do what the Rams did.
They don't give you rings for how much cap space you have. They give you rings for winning Super Bowls. Like so many Dolphin fans, they become amateur accountants when free agency rolls around. Well, you have 60 million in cap space. I have consulted with my graphing calculator, and I think we should only sign like 11 million worth of players. Let's carry the cap space to next year. No, you have the most cap space at the time. At the time, they had the most cap space in the league. You use that money to make your team better. The moves that they've made have made this team better.
So yeah, and I actually when I tried to make my offseason plan, I was doing that whole spot track roster builder thing, and I actually went out. It's like, okay, how does this all work? Because I was not a salary cap expert. I went out and I looked around for people. Hey, can you give me a lesson on how to properly structure these contracts in ways that are realistic to what we can expect?
Right.
And somebody, he basically explained to me, here's how the signing bonuses work, here's how the roster bonuses work, all the extra guaranteed, and how that applies against the cap. And I learned so much in that just 24-hour time span. And I was able to create a roster that basically had somehow managed to fit Devontae Adams, who I guess Tyreek Hill now takes that money role because I had him slotted for his $30 million a year, mind you. I had the likes of Gesicki. I managed to keep Ogba, and somehow Miami managed to do all those things. I thought it was going to be Adams, but listen, I'll take the Tyreek Hill thing. That's fantastic as far as I'm concerned. In fact, considering what the Dolphins are going to be trying to do, I think Tyreek Hill is a better fit than Devontae Adams. So there's nowhere on this team, at least on offense at this point, that you can really point at and say, oh, here's the massive weak spot, unless you think it's Tua himself or maybe some of those spots on the offensive line, because I'm still not convinced that Michael Dieter's good enough. Maybe he's okay. Maybe he develops under Mike McDaniel and his coaching staff, because that's the other thing that's being ignored about this whole thing, Donno, is that we got a roster overhaul on offense. But at some point, if we're so high on this coaching staff and on their ability to get things done, at what point do we look at these guys and say, listen, we love all these new players, but there's still these existing guys, and you got to get the most out of them. So You would hope at some point with all these offensive line coaches, they got Matt Applebaum, they got Frank Smith to be the offensive coordinator, Mike McDaniel himself being the run game guru. Somebody on this line has to develop. Somebody, whether it's Kindley, Jackson, Michael Dieter, maybe they finally give Derval Quirez-Nato a shot. I don't even know if he's still around, but I would give him a shot considering I saw him maul 2 guys with his judo hands. Like, just give somebody needs to develop under this coaching staff, because if nobody does, then either these guys are as much as we love Chris Grier, either these guys are absolute stains on his ability to scout offensive linemen, or these guys are not much better than what we already had as far as offensive line coaching goes.
Yeah, and to build on that, I still think Eichenberg can develop. I've not written him off yet because
Neither
you
have I.
don't. Yeah, exactly. And I think a guy who could be a real wild card. And you know what? If you want to talk about someone having no more excuses, this is a guy where that narrative definitely applies. Austin Jackson. I don't think necessarily, for as bad as he's been, I don't necessarily think he's hopeless, because if there's one blocking scheme that he can actually be decent at in the NFL, I won't even say good, I'll say decent. It's this one, because when he came out of USC, everyone knew this guy's strengths, his athleticism, his range, quickness, that's going to come a lot handier in an outside zone blocking scheme than what he played in before.
Oh yeah, this is tailor-made to make him function now. So again, either he gets on board with the program, or he's not. He's kind of proving that he's going to be just another Jesse Davis at best. And as much as, listen, Jesse Davis, apparently he's meeting with the Vikings. It honestly didn't take him long to find a market, I guess, which is kind of interesting.
Weird,
Donno, I was never as down on Jesse Davis as many people were. I don't necessarily like him as a player per se, as far as a starter goes. But again, his role was not supposed to be starter. I was so pissed off when I saw that he was starting. He is supposed to be the utility guy, emergency backup, center, left guard, right tackle, left tackle, emergency only usage, break glass in case of emergency guy. When he became a starter, that's when the Jesse Davis thing went downhill. I knew he was never a starter. I hated when he was starting because he's not that guy. So as a backup, though, if that's what the Vikings are going to bring him in, I think they'll be happy with him, because that's his role.
And I think to that point, he's a valuable backup to have, because he can play every position on the line. So, because if you bring in a backup who can literally only play right guard, for example, and cannot play either tackle position, or the other guard position, can't play center, there's not a whole lot of value, because literally only one guy can get hurt that this guy would be able to fill in for. Where if you have a guy like Jesse Davis, he's not particularly good at any of the positions on the line. Like, you wouldn't want him starting anywhere, but it's nice to know he can start everywhere, if that makes sense. He's like a Swiss Army knife.
Right. It's supposed to be a one or two game shoe in, and then the other guy comes back. If he's your starter from day one, you messed up.
You got a bad O-line. You got the worst O-line in the league if he's your starter from day one.
That was it. And so now you have all these young guys. If you can turn Austin Jackson into a utility player, then you know what? I'll call that a win. I don't like it because he was a first-round draft pick, but it's better than nothing. It's better than calling him an absolute bust. At least they got some use out of him. So, again, it's not ideal, but I'll take it if that's the case. But I still want somebody to step up and do something good. I still liked what I saw from Larnell Coleman, not going to lie.
Yeah.
Training camp, Larnell Coleman looked pretty solid. He ended up going on IR because I guess he got hurt, or maybe they were trying to hide him from other people poaching him, which is fine. I understand, that's business, but I want to see what Larnell Coleman can do. Maybe he can be a good right tackle with this system. Who knows? Robert Jones looked a heck of a lot better than Jesse Davis did in that one game that Brian Flores allowed him to. And by the way, some people saying that Brian Flores, I saw somebody said Brian Flores deserved to have this roster instead. I can't remember who said it, but it was just like, Brian Flores would have been the reason we wouldn't have this roster right now,
right?
Because he wouldn't have focused on the offense very much. He would have focused more on the defense, fix the defense more, make the defense stronger. And oh, by the way, please literally get me any quarterback besides Tua. Besides the point, but this roster is built for offense because we have an offensive-minded head coach now.
Mm-hmm.
That makes all the difference. And we now have somebody who will hopefully take an objective viewpoint from this situation and say, this guy, you should have been playing. This guy should not have been playing. It speaks volumes that Robert Jones had to wait until the last game of the season to finally get a chance to play in favor of Jesse Davis. And he wasn't. Let me just say this. He wasn't good. Okay, he wasn't good, but he was better than Jesse Davis. And this whole time, he's just been sitting there waiting for his chance. Why did it take so long? That was one of the main things about Brian Flores that still drives me up a wall to think about this day. It's like you had this guy, and you refused to play him for reasons. No reason. Just didn't feel like it.
You're on fire today. Let people know where they can find you, where they can find your work.
All right, so you can follow me on Twitter at Louis D. Sung. The tag is right there in the name there. I've contributed for 5 Reasons Sports Network. I write articles every once in a blue moon nowadays. Just been busy starting up my new job, so I'm trying to focus more on that. But I'll be back to writing very, very soon. I'll be very happy to get to it. In fact, I'm going to be I think I'm going to be writing up a column not long, very long, and I will try to show back on the Donno show, assuming Mr. Donno will have me back.
Of course, always, man. An open invitation. Like if you ever want to hop in, just let me know, my friend. I know you wanted to take me to task for my Tom Brady hope. Unfortunately, my dream died over the weekend. So we'll start the Lamar Jackson agenda in a little bit because I know there's some chatter about that behind the scenes. There's always a new agenda for me to latch on to. I'll see you, Louis.
Bye, Donno.
I love it. Oh, man. Huge thanks to Louis Sung. Huge thanks to Alfredo Arteaga, who joined us earlier. Guys, make sure you support the official sports bar of Donno Daily, the Quarterdeck Seafood Bar and Neighborhood Grill. Locations all over Broward County. Great place to drink some beer. 2-for-1 happy hour all day, every day. The freshest seafood on planet Earth. The best burgers and sandwiches. Man, I love the All-American Burger. I love the jerk chicken sandwich at the Quarterdeck. Great place to watch every game and every UFC pay-per-view fight for zero cover charge. QuarterdeckRestaurants.com. Go there to find your location and check out their menu. Come for the food, stay for the fun. BetUS.com, official sportsbook of Donno Daily. Guys, site fully available in Florida. Bet on sports, play in their online casino. You can play blackjack for real money in there. Betting is Hello? Am I back? wait. Am I back in here? I had a okay. I can still see Louis backstage, and he's nodding his head. Folks, you see what happened here? The globalists tried to knock out my feed. You have to understand, we're fighting a war right now. We're not fighting a war with Putin. We're fighting a war with the deep state. That's who we're fighting with. Great reset is coming, my friends. They were trying to silence me again. I don't know if they have a problem with my very non-globalist agenda of BetUS.com, America's favorite sports book. We have the best bonus in the industry for you. Sign up today with our code 5RSN125. Use 5RSN125. They give you a 125% sign-up bonus. That's BetUS.com and our code. You see it there on the screen, 5RSN125. You bet, you win, you get paid. BetUS.com. We also have an official fantasy sports provider here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Prize Picks. Guys, Prize Picks is fantastic. It combines my love for parlays with my love for daily fantasy. It's you versus the numbers at Prize Picks. Sign up with our code 5. That's FIVE. Hold on, I think I have that. I know you guys aren't completely stupid. You probably know how to spell the word 5, but let me put it on the screen anyway, because if any of you are 40 years old reading at a first grade level, when you go to prizepicks.com, sign up with our code 5 FIVE, and they will match your first deposit 100% up to $100. You simply select 2, 3, or 4 players and predict if they're going to go over or under their fantasy projections or stat projections. And if you get 4 predictions correct, they give you 10 times your money. It's fantastic. Prize Picks truly is daily fantasy simplified. All right, let me throw out a few shout outs, and then hold on, let me close that banner because I don't want to have that up. Promo code 5. So it's 5 for Prize Picks, FIVE. And yeah, indeed. Thank you so much. Everyone, smash that like button, hit the thumbs up button. And if you haven't already, subscribe to 5 Reasons Sports Network on YouTube. So hit that like button. It not only helps this show, it helps all the shows on the network because it gets our channel out to more people. So thank you so much, Indeed. He says, if you're 40 reading at a first grade level, I'm impressed you made it this far. Fair enough, man. Thank you, Indeed, for listening, for watching, I should say. Thank you so much, Alex M. Yeah, the North Koreans hacked my signal. But you know who the North Koreans work for? They work for George Soros. They work for Joe Biden. That's who they're working for. That's why they jammed my internet. I need to bring back the tinfoil hat. I think I threw the last one in the garbage. Got to make a new one. The New World Order. That's who blocked my feed. Thank you so much. The Miss Mick Tagovailoa. Thank you so much. Revo13. Robert Bruce. Thank you so much for watching. Tony 2 times. He could hear me even when that system jam was going on. Bishop Sycamore's finest. Well, people don't talk enough about Bishop Sycamore anymore. That fake high school that was playing football games, just like a bunch of random dudes who came together pretending to be a high school. That was like one of the best stories of last summer, I think, or early fall last year. That was great. I know OG Kenny P pissed some people off in the chat because he wrote like 10,000 messages about why Tua is not any good. You keep being you, Kenny P. If they can't handle all your truth bombs, that's their problem, not your problem. I love you, man. Don't troll too much, though. Seriously, if you piss too many people off, you may get voted off the island. But I did not block you because I was entertained overall. But if people start to get annoyed, we do what we have to do. Alex M, thank you so much for watching. Jason Schneider, thank you so much. Martina, one of our regulars, thank you so much. To go into last season with Jesse Davis as your blindside protector is a shocking indictment on the Flores regime. Flores was bad with everything on offense. Like there was nothing on the offensive side of the football that you can say was decent or improved under the Flores watch. It was unmitigating disaster. Give him some credit for the defense, no question, but the offense, gross mismanagement, just terrible. Let's see who else. Throw out some more shout outs. David, thank you so much. Just takes a while. When I scroll up, I try to shout out everybody, but there's so many of the same people having conversations. It's tough to see who's new and who's not. Ray Grouillon, thank you. He says, Daniel Jones better than Brady. Trolls. Yeah, nobody reasonable would think that Daniel Jones is better than Brady. Daniel Jones is a problem. Huge problem. Let's see. Mark Ricci, thank you so much. Donald, thank you for tuning in. PB Matthew says Teddy only starts if Tua gets hurt. Tua, quote unquote, realistically should be better than him. But even if he isn't, he'll still play the whole season. They aren't doing any Flores shit again, dying on this hill. I think we just got a super chat. Hold on, where is that? Oh, Shake Money. Thank you so much. He said, did catch the basketball contest. It was the most exhilarating victory. I think he's talking about that Kansas victory. Yeah, Shake, thank you for rubbing it in my face. Especially thank you for the super chat. That's very kind of you. My Hurricanes got smashed yesterday, but still come out of that NCAA tournament with our heads held high. That team was never supposed to be Elite Eight. Like that was a tremendous season, tremendous postseason run. Unlike your Gators, I know your Gators have won national championships before in basketball. My Hurricanes have not. This was their first time ever getting past the Sweet 16. So it was still a historic season. Terrible ending, but that doesn't mean the journey was any less awesome. Milton, thank you so much. All right, let me throw a few more shout outs. I know I'm going to miss some people because we had a lot today, a lot of people conversing. So there's no way I'm going to get to everyone. Ryan AP, thank you so much. IMAX, who says the Chris Rock getting slapped by Will Smith, he says it was not fake. Tell you, I think it was fake. I don't think anything real happens at these award shows. I think they're trying to get clicks, right? They knew nobody watches the Oscars anymore. Like 1 million people actually watch it. And then today, like 100 million people are tweeting about it. I think they knew what they were doing. VLKV, thank you so much. Bones, thank you, Bones. Please be like Bones. Hit that like button. Smash that like button. And make sure you subscribe to the channel. By the way, I noticed I just looked at the private chat and Louis D. Sung said, Tuanon shut down my feed for the Lamar Jackson narrative. I'm not fully on that narrative yet, but we will get there. We will cross that bridge when we get to it. Chris, the Finns Tailgate, thank you so much. Vic Papo, thank you so much. Andres, Davila, thank you so much for tuning in. Let's see. How could I forget my guy Brooklyn Rob? Brooklyn Rob, thank you. He is probably the most. He and David are probably like the two who are always here. Big Dan 305 as well. Like there's a hand. And if I left anybody out, sorry, but there's a handful of you guys who I know will be watching every single episode, no matter what. Andres, thank you so much. I think I shouted out Andres like multiple times. A few different Andreses actually. And oh, my guy Trevor, TH from the 203. Thank you so much. Chris, thank you so much for tuning in. We did talk about this a little bit. I don't think there's any update on. There's a couple players that I keep seeing the Dolphins linked to. We both think that there could be another move coming, like another big move. He says any updates on Honey Badger? Honey Badger. I've also seen Deebo Samuel rumored to maybe be traded for. I haven't seen anything new on that. I don't think Alf has either. We talked a little bit about it. AB, thank you. And all right, that's going to do it for the shout outs. If I missed anybody, I don't do it on purpose. I apologize. We'll try to get everybody in tomorrow. Again, make sure you smash that like button. Oh. Lewis was just giving me a key on the YouTube algorithm. I may have to retitle the episode, so we will do that. Huge shout out to everybody who tuned in. Shout out to our sponsors, the Quarter Deck, BetUS.com, Prize Picks, to Alfredo and to Lewis for joining us. You guys rock. We will talk to you again next time on another episode of Donno Daily on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. See ya.